Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first meeting of the year of the California Commission on the State of Hate. I am Chair of the Commission, Russell Roybal. I call this meeting to order at 9:01 a.m. on Wednesday, February 26, 2025. Closed captioning is available for this meeting. The closed captions can be displayed in English or another language, which will allow you to view an automated live transcript of the meeting in another language. To display closed captions on your screen, please do the following. Click the button labeled Show Captions at the bottom of your Zoom window. Select the box at the bottom of the window labeled Enable Translation. When you see you've enabled translation at the top, select English as the speaking language and select your preferred language in the second menu. Then click Save. Automated captions in your selected language should start appearing at the bottom of the Zoom window. We will send instructions in Spanish in the chat. Now let's establish a quorum for our meeting today. Deputy Director Watts, will you call the roll?
Chair Roybal,
Present.
Vice Chair Salcedo,
Present.
Commissioner Che,
Present.
Commissioner Cuellar,
Present.
Commissioner Damsky,
Present.
Commissioner Filer,
Present.
Commissioner Levin,
Present.
Commissioner Suthers.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Now I will review the agenda. You may view the agenda by visiting the Commission's website and clicking on the button labeled Meetings and Agendas. We will put the link to the agenda in the chat. You can also find the Commission's website by typing in California Commission on the State of Hate in any search engines. There are two modifications to the agenda today. We are moving agenda item 5, removing agenda item 5, the Civil Rights Department report. We are moving agenda item 8, chair and subcommittee updates, to be immediately after agenda item 3, which is the discussion and election of the vice chair. And then we are moving agenda item 4, discussion and action on modifications to subcommittees, after agenda item 8, which is the chair and subcommittee reports. So a little bit of changes today. We will, of course, do our normal business around approving the minutes, reports from all of our subcommittees. We'll also have a informational presentation from our colleagues at the Conflict Resolution Unit. So we have a very packed agenda today. Before we move on, I'd like to review the process for public comment. As we all know, public comment is an important part of any of our meetings. If you are joining us on Zoom and would like to make a public comment, please use the raised hand feature to join the public comment queue. If you are joining us by phone, you can raise your hand by pressing *9 and *6 to unmute. You may also submit a written public comment by email at csh@calcivilrights.ca.gov. If you submit a written comment that pertains to an agenda item, we will read it aloud or summarize it when the public comment portion of that agenda item is open and before any vote. If the comment is not about a specific agenda item, we will read it aloud or summarize it during the agenda item titled Public Comment on Items Not on the Agenda. For anyone joining us in the room in Los Angeles at the Civil Rights Department offices, please raise your hand for a verbal comment and we will unmute the room. You may also submit a written comment by writing your comment on a piece of paper and handing it to Shanna Hart, our staff member in the room today. In the interest of time, we will limit verbal public comments to 2 minutes per person. Now, let's move on to our first agenda item, which is discussion and election of the chair. Before we get started on this, before I review the responsibilities of the chair, I actually want to let all the commissioners know that I am not seeking re-election to chair of the commission. There are, for many reasons, one of which is I think it's important to make space for other leadership at the commission. I've also recently been elected chair of the Outright Action International Board, and given the things that are happening around us and globally, I want to be able to devote more time to that. In addition, I feel like I have accomplished the things that I wanted to accomplish as chair. In our very first meeting, I said one of the things I wanted to do was to provide some infrastructure and get things set up and a strong foundation. And I feel like along with all of the commissioners and the staff that we've been able to do that. I think the last piece of that will be something I unfortunately will have to leave the commission meeting early today, but won't get to see through is the restructuring of the subcommittees. I think we have been nimble in order to meet the needs of our state and our communities. And so I'm excited that that piece is going to happen along with all the other stuff that we have done together over the last 2+ years. So my service has been amazing, and I have been honored to serve alongside all of you and the people of California. I am not leaving the commission. I am just transitioning into being a commissioner. And so I'm very excited for the commission's future. And of course, we'll continue to be here to be supportive of the next chair and excited to support their leadership as the commission continues to move its work forward. The other thing I will mention before we move into the discussion or the election of the chair is that we've been notified that Assembly Member Ella Wary has submitted a bill, Assembly Bill 822, to prolong the life of the commission. I think all of you know that we were to sunset in 2027, but the Assembly member has filed a bill to extend that. So I'm very excited about that as well. And we will not be discussing that today. In your subcommittees, the staff will provide you some updates and be able to answer questions, but as we get more information as that process moves forward. So let's move on to the election of the chair. So some of the responsibilities of the chair are on the screen in front of you. Coordinate regularly with the senior advisor to stay abreast of the day-to-day operations of the commission, to set meeting schedules and agendas, to manage and lead each meeting of the commission, to move agenda items as needed, as you saw we did today, to familiarize yourself with and apply during commission meetings Robert's Rules of Order, to represent the commission before external entities as necessary, to ensure the commission is in compliance with applicable laws, regulations, and policies, including the Bagley-Keene Act and the Public Records Act. And upon a majority vote of the commission may expand the authority of the chair. I will say some of the other responsibilities are to have a good sense of humor and patience in this role, and to really reach out to fellow commissioners and the community and keep that in mind when chairing this incredible body that we have and the work that we get to do on behalf of the people of our great state. Next slide, please. The term is a 1-year term, so it will serve through the first meeting of 2026. That was supposed to be last month, but as you know, we had to cancel the meeting last month due to what was happening in our state and the effect and impact on on a couple of the commissioners. So it would normally go through the January meeting. Next slide, please. So here is the nomination procedure. A member interested in being chair must first announce their willingness to be chair. I will ask for that in just a few minutes. Thereafter, members can be nominated by another member to be eligible to receive votes for chair, or they can nominate themselves. Remember, we changed that last year. A member may nominate more than one candidate. If agreed upon by a majority of the members present, a candidate may give a short 3-minute max statement explaining why they should be elected. Next slide, please. Members, so when we get to the election part, members may vote for only one member. If no member receives greater than 50% of the vote, a second round of voting shall occur between the two nominees who receive the greatest number of votes in the first round. In the event of a tie in the second round of voting, the CRD director or their delegate shall break the tie at the meeting or in the next publicly noticed meeting. Director Kish is with us today, and then the candidate with the most votes becomes chair and assumes the duties at the end of this meeting. Although I will say one of the things I hope to do is to meet with the new incoming chair to be able to provide some of that transition in terms of what it's like to be chair and any of the priorities that have been happening with the staff and behind the scenes. Next slide, please. So that is the procedure. Alec, is there another slide after this one? I can't
Oh,
recall.
no, this is just a reminder of the procedure, so we'll just go through these steps.
Okay,
right
so
now. Yep.
for those of you that are interested in being chair, if you could think about it and raise your hand on Zoom so that the rest of the commissioners know who has a willingness to be chair of the commission. I see Vice Chair Salcedo. I see Commissioner Levin. All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. So members can be nominated by another member or folks can nominate themselves. Are there any nominations for chair?
I'll nominate Commissioner Salcedo, Vice Chair Salcedo.
Commissioner Cuellar has nominated Vice Chair Salcedo. Are there any other nominations for chair?
Yes, I will nominate Commissioner Levin.
Commissioner Damsky nominates Commissioner Levin. Commissioner Levin, do you accept?
Yes.
Commissioner Salcedo, do you accept your nomination? Apologies, I didn't ask.
Yes, apologies, yes.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? All right, nominations are closed. Can I have by a show of hands, do commissioners want to hear a short statement from each of the nominees? All right, I see a majority of commissioners, so we will go first. Let's go in alphabetical order. So we'll start with Commissioner Levin. Commissioner Levin, you have 3 minutes. I will give you a 30-second warning.
Thank you. Is my mic on before you start the time?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hey, always remember the arc of the moral universe is long, as Dr. King told us, but it does bend towards justice. Thank you, Chair Royable, all my fellow commissioners for this opportunity to chat with you at this pivotal yet extraordinarily cruel time. This arc, though, even bends in this time of injustice, polarization, and a mainstreaming of evil's allies, conspiracism, disinformation, hate, and extremism. But it can only bend when we, as our own allies, all strive upward together to peacefully but firmly grasp that arc. This is our moment. Thus, right off the bat, here are 5 non-exhaustive major issues I'd like to address together with you. 1, constructively assist attendance. We have folks that have not been able to attend a lot of meetings, and I want to make sure that we can work with them to get their own representatives to meetings. Intensify legislative interaction and make this commission permanent, as Chair Royal just discussed. I want to expand our public reach with announcements and narrower video archiving so we can get expert testimony. We're battling on information, both evidence-based and community voices. And to that end, I want to assist vulnerable and targeted communities, immigrants, religious minorities, transgender folks. We also have to respond to attacks on social cohesion, online exploitation, as we've seen from Kevin's excellent work at UCLA, violent extremism and militias who are going to be targeting immigrants, but also promote conflict resolution, peacemaking, and as required by statute, by the way, restorative justice. I want to highlight our work and that of the CRD and protect its successes, like the Community Conflict Resolution Unit, which faces a loss of funding exactly when the feds are going to cut their analogs nationally. My affiliation with this commission, after decades of grassroots and interfaith work, extends to those who actively seek coexistence and harmony across affiliations. A chair has to be present for that. And I've been to every single meeting. That counts. Nobody's representing anybody if they're not here. And it's time for all hands on deck. My first pro bono client right out of law school was Reverend Vivian, C.T. Vivian, Dr. King's favorite preacher and his successor. He would greet allies by saying, "We've been waiting for you." This is the man who was knocked out by a racist Alabama sheriff. He said, "We've been waiting for you. This moment is ours. but for service to others. We have people who are grieving and in need. We're going to see records. with
30 more
respect-
seconds, Commissioner Levin.
30 seconds?
Yes.
Yeah, we're seeing records with regard to various groups. So how do we fulfill our role with the commission, which, by the way, thank you so much, Chair, for putting that infrastructure together. What do? We elevate research and community voices, sing it from the rooftops, but we have to expand this. And I'm going to be doing that by reaching out to many partners, whether it's in the educational world, the media world, and of course, NGOs, grassroots, and community voices. I
Time.
need you all to do this.
Levin.
Excuse me. This is our moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Levin. Vice Chair Salcedo, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, Chair Roybal. First, let me begin by saying, my fellow commissioners, I hope that you vote in favor of my appointment as a chair of this commission. As you know, we are living in unprecedented times, and obviously this commission was formed to set precedents about the work that needs to happen in our state, to specifically end the hate that we all experience. And having someone who is a person of trans experience who has directly been impacted by hate, who is a member of a community who has been politically targeted at this moment, and standing in solidarity with all of us, particularly in this community that is being attacked politically. It will set precedents to all our country. Obviously, you know, there is a responsibility of being a chair, and I'm committed into making sure that all the duties that are assigned to represent all of you will be delivered. There are a couple of things that I want to propose as I embarked in this new role, with your support, of course. I do believe that it is important for all of us to work together to make sure that we set the policies that need to happen in order for us to do the work that the people need to understand in order for us to eliminate the hate. It is important that we collectively also advocate for what needs to happen, right? Unfortunately, you have heard that, you know, one of the departments within the Civil Rights Department is ending. And in my opinion, that is not acceptable. And instead of, you know, adding more resources to the work that needs to happen to end the hate, it is really unconscionable to think that these programs are ending.
30
So
seconds, Commissioner Salcedo.
thank you. I also want to ask that you understand what needs to happen. And I believe that we collectively can do the work done. All of you are amazing and incredible individuals, and that's why you are here. And with your support, we can make the difference in our state. Thank you so much.
Time. Thank you, Commissioner Vice Chair Salcedo. We will now move to public comment, if there is any public comment. Monica, do we have any public comment on Zoom?
No public comment on Zoom.
Rebecca, do we have any public comment from email?
No public comment on this item on the agenda.
Thank you. Shanna, is there any public comment in the room in Los Angeles?
No public comments.
All right, shall we move to a vote unless there are any comments from commissioners? All right, let's move to a vote. Again, as a reminder for the election procedure, members may only vote for one member. If no member receives greater than 50% of the vote, a second round of voting shall occur between the two nominees who receive the greatest number of votes in the first round. In the event of a tie in the second round of voting, the CRD director or their delegate shall break the tie at the meeting or in the next publicly noticed meeting. The candidate with the most votes becomes chair and assumes the duties at the end of this meeting. So we will call the roll. Deputy Director Watts.
Chair Roybal,
Commissioner Salcedo.
I'm sorry, am I voting for? I can't, can I vote for myself?
You can. Alec is
Oh,
calling the
okay.
roll. So
I wasn't
commissioners
sure.
may
Okay,
vote for themselves.
I'll vote for myself. Thank you.
okay, Vice Chair Salcedo, I will put you down. Commissioner Che,
My vote is for Commissioner Levin.
Commissioner Cuellar,
Sorry, my vote will be for Commissioner Salcedo.
thank you. Commissioner Damsky,
My vote is for Commissioner Levin.
Commissioner Filer,
My vote is for Commissioner Levin.
Commissioner Levin,
For myself, Commissioner Levin.
Commissioner Suthers.
My vote is for Commissioner Levin.
Okay, so the count that I have is 3 votes for Vice Chair Salcedo, 5 votes for Commissioner Levin.
So that means Commissioner Levin has been elected chair of the commission. Congratulations, Chair-elect Brian Levin.
Congratulations.
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 Thank you from the bottom of my heart. But we have to roll up our sleeves. And Vice Chair Salcedo, your voice will be heard. What is happening to the transgender community is an outrage. And we have to stand up for the civil rights of all the residents of our state. And I'm not going to stop. Every single one of you, I am there for you. Whatever function you are accomplishing, I will be there for you. Commissioner Cuellar, you did not vote for me, but I admire you so much. They are cutting the programs that aid the women that were victimized that you spoke so eloquently for. I want you to know that all of you are my friends, and we have to stand up when a Jewish person, a Muslim person, an Arab person, a Latino, or anyone else disabled are being victimized, and it's so cruel. And the other thing I'm going to have to do more is shut up. And I'm going to do that by hopefully inviting subject matter experts and community voices to talk briefly for 7 to 12 minutes and avail themselves to questions. Because why? Because there's a news channel out there that is putting up lies about communities and civil liberties. And it is, and we now have the trust and security units of all the major platforms, online platforms, eliminated. So I want to bring that expertise and community voices to bear. This is a solemn obligation. Thank you, Chair Roybal.
Thank you.
A debt of gratitude by setting a tone and an infrastructure that we're going to have to succeed. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. But Vice Chair Salcedo, you are not alone. This is going to be a primary focus for this commission.
Thank you, Commissioner Levin, and congratulations. I will follow up with you separately about setting up a time for us to do a transition and get to meet with the staff as well. Congratulations. Let's now move on to election of the vice chair. So the procedures are the same. The responsibilities of the vice chair: assist the chair with fulfilling their duties, including fulfilling tasks delegated by the chair, serve as the chair if the chair is unable to do so, as Vice Chair Salcedo will do a little bit later in this meeting, to familiarize themselves with Roberts of Order, applicable laws, regulations, and policies, including the Bagley-Keene Act and the Public Records Act. Those are the responsibilities of the vice chair. Vice Chair Salcedo, do you have anything to add about the role of the vice chair?
No, I think it's very clear. Thank you.
Next slide, please. The vice chair term, like the chair term, is for 1 year and will begin at the conclusion of this meeting through the end of the first meeting of 2026. The nomination procedure is the same. I will ask if there are any members interested in being vice chair to announce their willingness to be vice chair. Thereafter, members can be nominated by another member to be eligible to receive votes. A member may also nominate themselves. A member may nominate more than one candidate, and if agreed upon by a majority of the members present, the candidate may give a short 3 minutes max statement explaining why they should be elected. Next slide. The election procedure also is the same. Members may vote for only one member. If no member receives greater than 50% of the vote, a second round of voting shall occur between the two nominees who receive the greatest number of votes in the first round. In the event of a tie, in the second round of voting, the CRD director or their delegate shall break the tie at the meeting or in the next publicly noticed meeting. And then the candidate with the most votes becomes vice chair and assumes the duties at the end of this meeting. Again, we will do public comment as we did before after we do a discussion and nominations and before we move to the election. So if there are commissioners who are interested in becoming vice chair, please make yourselves visible by raising your hand on Zoom. Let me ask that again. There are commissioners who are interested in being vice chair. Please signify by raising your hand on Zoom. Since our procedures are, Commissioner Damsky, does that mean you are interested in being vice chair?
I am willing to serve as vice chair in the absence of other people expressing their interest.
Thank you.
I'd be happy to serve as vice chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Damsky. Are there any other commissioners who are willing to serve as vice chair?
Not serve as vice chair, but may I nominate Commissioner Damsky?
Well, yes, but we're not there yet, Commissioner
Thank
Levin.
you.
See no other folks willing to put their names forward as vice chair. Now we will move to nominations. Commissioner Levin. Oh, Vice Chair Salcedo, did you?
Yeah, I'd like to make a nomination, hopefully.
Oh, wait, well, you can only nominate folks from the folks who've put their hand up willing to be vice chair. And right now that's only Commissioner Damsky. All right, Commissioner Levin. Nominations are now open. Commissioner Levin.
I wholeheartedly nominate Commissioner Damsky, who, by the way, was the one who found that anti-Semitism survey and sent it to me. So I want to make sure I footnote that. I wholeheartedly and gladly nominate her.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Damsky, do you accept nomination?
Thank you, Commissioner Levin. Yes, I do accept.
All right, Commissioner Damsky, fellow commissioners, by a show of hands, are folks willing to hear a short, brief presentation from the nominees? Seeing no objections, Commissioner Damsky, you have 3 minutes to make a brief presentation. I will tell you when you have 30 seconds left.
Thank you, Chair. I will be much briefer than that since I was not planning to do this today. I really care deeply about this commission, the work or mission. I'm really happy to hear that we have a representative in Sacramento who is willing to move legislation forward to keep our commission moving forward. And I'm happy. I know that we're going to be discussing a little later today how our committees will be restructured to broaden and deepen the work that we're doing. I'm looking forward to assisting Commissioner Levin and our staff in making that happen. And I'm happy to have your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your brief statement, Commissioner Damsky. We will now move to public comment, if there are any public comments. Shanna, are there any public comments in the room in Los Angeles?
There are no comments.
Rebecca, do we have any email public comments?
No email public comments on this item.
Monica, are there any public comments on Zoom?
No public comment via Zoom.
All right, we will move to the election of the vice chair. Deputy Director Watts, will you please call the roll?
Chair Roybal,
Commissioner Damsky,
Vice Chair Salcedo,
Commissioner Dembski.
Commissioner Che.
I support Commissioner Damsky.
Thank you. Commissioner Quaylar,
Commissioner Dembski.
Commissioner Damsky,
Commissioner Damsky, thank you.
Commissioner Filer,
Commissioner Damsky.
Commissioner Levin,
Proudly, Commissioner Damsky.
Commissioner Suthers.
Commissioner Damsky.
Okay, I have 8 votes for Commissioner Damsky.
congratulations, Vice Chair-elect Andrea Beth Damsky.
Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry I'm going to need to leave our meeting early today. That's not representative of my usual attendance. And I look forward to seeing you all at the next meeting and communicating in between now and then about the transfer of leadership. Thanks for your trust in me.
Thank you, Commissioner Damsky. And thanks to all the commissioners who put themselves forward for a possible election. And again, my deep thanks and gratitude to all of you for allowing me to serve as chair for the last 2 years. And again, my decision not to run again has nothing to do with the commission or any of the commissioners, but really creating space for other folks to lead and this new appointment that I have at an organization that I love and care about and needs a lot of my attention in these perilous times that we are living in. Commissioner Filer.
I just want to commend you on the outstanding leadership. Really, you've represented us well, and I want to thank you. And I so admire you. So thank you for your leadership.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Filer. That means a lot to me. Commissioner Suthers.
I'd like to echo Commissioner Filer's compliments. It's extremely difficult when you are the chair of an inaugural commission, particularly a state, not just any state, the largest state commission on a subject that's so critical right now. So thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your commitment and your accomplishments. And we're really glad you're going to be remaining on the commission going forward.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Suthers. Commissioner Che.
Well, of course, I'm going to add my appreciation to you, Chair Roybal. It is very challenging to set standards and practices and for a new commission, and it's been set at a very high bar. And what I've appreciated most is your ability to ensure that all of our voices are represented, that it's been an inclusive process, and including with the public. And I know that Commissioner Levin and Commissioner Damsky have big shoes to fill, but I'm also confident in their leadership. So thank you so much, and I'm glad to be working with you moving forward as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Che. Commissioner Levin.
Thank you so much for the wonderful job you did. And it's twofold. And I think it deserves approbation. Number one, navigating state regulations and laws is tough even for lawyers. But you brought with you incredible experience from NGLTF, who I had the pleasure of working with decades ago. I don't want to date myself here. But you also did something else. And you know what? Other commissions look at us. I'm friends with folks on other commissions. I'm talking to people across the country. And one of the things that you've done, when they went low, you went high. And anyone who follows you is going to have to do the same thing and make sure to represent all the people of California, and you did such a beautiful job. We are now at a challenge, and you left us in good stead. Thank you so much, not just with respect to the infrastructure and the tangibles, but the intangibles that make a person a true mensch.
Thank you, Commissioner Levin. Commissioner Salcedo.
I just want to take a moment to really appreciate you and thank you for your guidance and support and for all that you've done in your tenure. It has been my privilege to serve alongside with you and so grateful for what we have accomplished together. And I just want to thank you publicly and just let you know that I so admire you and appreciate you, and I thank you so much for your guidance and support through this 2 years. And really looking forward to what comes next. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Salcedo. It's been an honor to serve with you and to learn from you. And, our relationship predates this commission. We've known each other almost 25 years. So I know that we have much more work to do together. So thank you so much. Commissioner Adamski.
Thank you, Chair. I want to acknowledge and thank both you and Vice Chair Salcedo for the service that you've provided to our commission these last 2 years. Not only for the infrastructure that you helped us create, but the professionalism, the respect, and what comes across to me as a deep care for each of us here and the communities we represent and the issues we care about. Just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, and congratulations on your new role. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you to all of the commissioners for your work on this commission on behalf of the people of our great state. I didn't think I was going to get emotional, but I am a little after all that. So thank you. So thank you so much. It has really been an honor to serve with all of you and to be chair. And so thank you. Thank you for making that experience incredibly positive and rewarding. And something that this little queen from the barrio didn't ever think they would have a role like this as a young person, as a queer young person, as a queer, gender expansive young person. So thank you for the opportunity to serve, and I appreciate it very much. Let's move on to the next agenda item, which is the chair and subcommittee updates. Excuse me while I pull myself together. And the first thing is we'll do the chair's report. And again, apologies that I have to depart after this. For the chair updates, I'd just like to start by taking a moment to reflect on the many important events since our last meeting, including Ed Roberts Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and of course, Black History Month, which we are in currently. I wanted to go over some things related to our report. There's some slides that the staff will present, and I just want to go through what some of the recommendations were. So I'm very proud to announce that our second annual report for the 23-24 has been released and is available on the Commission's Civil Rights Department website. We received Governor's Office approval earlier this month after addressing their non-substantive comments. As you know, the report consists of the Commission's interim recommendations for 19 policies and 3 sets of tools to combat hate. I will review those in a moment. In addition to the recommendations themselves, this report provides extensive supporting evidence for these recommendations. I'm incredibly proud of the report, and the report has truly been a team effort. I want to thank all of you for your patience and guidance on this, and a special thank you to the Civil Rights Department staff who I have gotten to work alongside as chair over the last 2 years and have been incredible colleagues, not only in supporting the commission, but in the crafting and authoring of this report. Those include Monica Chavez, Rebecca Goodsell, David Kalkstein, Adam Romero, Kevin Thomas, Alec Watts, and Adria Wells for their assistance with this report. And of course, to Director Kish for all of your support, not only of the staff that you oversee at the Civil Rights Department, but of this commission. It is, like I said, really been an honor to work with the staff, and a special shout out to our senior advisor, Alec Watts, who has been incredible to work with. I don't think any chair of any commission has been more supported than by Alec. And so Alec, my special thank you to you and to Monica for making sure that the commission continues to run on time, the trains run on time, and that we dot all our I's and cross all our T's. So thank you, Monica, and thank you, Alec, for everything over these last 2 years. I want to thank you also to our research partners, including UCLA's Initiative to Study Hate and the research consultants who contributed to this report, Naya Hardaway, Aaron Fisher, and Sarah Wolf. And thank you, commissioners, for all of your work and edits on this report. I'd like to take the time in the meeting today to discuss our recommendations. As I mentioned, these are interim. Our work is going to be ongoing for several years. And as you heard me announce at the beginning of the meeting, there is an assembly member who is carrying a bill to extend the life of the commission. And we may revise these recommendations in the future. That will, of course, be up to the commission. We organized our recommendations into 4 parts. Patterns and trends in hate in California, addressing hate toward public officials and in public meetings, hate prevention and reduction, and resources and support. So let's start with patterns and trends. As you all know, the commission is required to provide a comprehensive accounting of hate in California. To do so, we gathered and synthesized many different types of data, including data from law enforcement and community-based organizations. However, we noticed that there are significant gaps in the data. For example, data from law enforcement underestimates the actual number of hate crimes that occur. Therefore, we issued the following interim recommendations to address these data gaps. 1, establish ongoing funding for developing comprehensive accounting of hate. And 2, increase information and data sharing between public entities and community-based organizations. So many of the community-based organizations have this data, and it's important that we have access to it. To close these gaps, we also have a research partnership, as you know, with the California Health Interview Survey, also known as CHIS, which we describe in detail in the report. We also describe the research framework we are using for this project, and included as an interim tool that can be used by local governments, non-governmental organizations, and others interested in measuring patterns and trends in hate and its impacts. The next item was addressing hate toward public officials and in public meetings. Our second set of interim recommendations builds on our community forum at the University of San Diego on threats, harassment, and hate targeting public officials and public meetings. After reviewing the information from the presenters and supplementing it with additional research, we made the following recommendations in the report. Number 1, enhance the training and resources for public officials and staff. Number 2, enhance security for public officials and public meetings. Number 3, explore amendments to open meeting laws. Number 4, invest in data and research on hate against public officials. And number 5, engage in efforts to shift norms and reassure communities. And I want to underscore this particular area because it is important that citizens take part in public bodies like the commission, like the LAPD commission that our colleague Commissioner Suthers chairs. Like, it is important for folks to be able to feel safe and to want to participate in this kind of process. So this is an important part of our report. The next piece is enhancing resources and support. Our third set of interim recommendations addresses how to enhance the resources and supports for those who are impacted by hate. So we recommended the following. Number one, implement a statewide rapid response support team to respond to hate events such as mass shootings. Number two, address gaps in law enforcement training requirements. Number three, implement evidence-based law enforcement trainings. Number four, enhance public education about reporting hate. Number five, provide ongoing investments to security grants, which Assemblymember Ward talked to us at a previous meeting. Number six, provide ongoing investments to California versus hate. And number seven, provide ongoing investments to community-based organizations like the Stop the Hate grant program that's administered by the state. And then finally, hate prevention and reduction is the next area. Finally, we introduced recommendations for 5 policies and 2 sets of tools for preventing and reducing hate in California. We focused on 2 areas, preventing hate in schools and preventing hate through public messaging campaigns. After reviewing hundreds of research studies, we recommended the following. Invest in evidence-based school interventions and public messaging campaigns to prevent hate. Number 2, support research and data collection on prevention initiatives. Number 3, support collaborations between researchers, policymakers, and practitioners. Number 4, incorporate prevention messages into public statements. And number 5, prepare Californians before hate occurs. And then we developed and recommended 2 sets of tools for preventing hate. Number 1, 5 evidence-based guiding principles for designing and implementing hate prevention programs in schools. And number 2, 8 evidence-based guiding principles for designing and implementing public messaging campaigns to prevent and reduce hate. So in closing, I just want to encourage you all to share this report with your networks, with any public officials that you have access to. This report is publicly available on the Commission's Civil Rights Department page. The information in the report is designed to help anyone interested in combating hate, from state lawmakers and other public officials to community-based organizations and advocacy groups. I encourage you to share the report broadly, and I will ask staff to share the information from my presentation to you and to put it in a document that includes additional supporting information about all of the points that I raised in each of the slides. I want to thank again the commissioners and the staff in particular for all of their hard work in putting this together. I hope you download the report that is now available on our site and that you send it to as many folks as you can, in particular policymakers that can take these recommendations and enact them. I will open it up to questions from commissioners before I hand it over to Vice Chair Salcedo. I know that was a lot. So we may need to discuss it in a future meeting as people sit with it more, but are there any immediate reactions or questions? And we'll get to public comment at the end of the committee reports. Vice Chair Salcedo.
I just want to express my appreciation for, to everyone who contributed to making sure that this report is out in public for people to understand and go through and see, what we can collectively do. So I just want to express my appreciation and gratitude to everybody who contributed to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Salcedo. Any other questions from commissioners? All right, everyone, like I said, there will be other time for us to discuss this. Again, please download the report, spread the report to your contacts and colleagues, organizations that you work with. Again, like I said, I want to underscore the policymaker, legislator angle and getting it into their hands as well. I really appreciate all of your support on this, and I feel like it is a good way to end my term as chair with the publication of this report and its important recommendations that all of us have worked on. And again, just want to extend my thanks to the staff for all of their work in helping to write and create it. Thank you. And I will now turn it over to Vice Chair Salcedo to run the rest of the meeting and continue on with the subcommittee reports. And I hope to see all of you very, very soon. Thank you again.
Thank you, Chair Roybal. Do we, are we doing public comment now? Alec?
Why don't we finish the subcommittee updates and then we'll get to public
Okay.
comment.
So please, if you can Alec, if you can display the subcommittee proposal. Staff has suggested to modifying the structure of our subcommittees.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, Vice Chair Salcedo, but we have to go to the subcommittee updates.
Oh, apologies.
So-
Oh, yes. So can we please then have Commissioner Adamski give us a report on recommendations for law enforcement?
It looks like Commissioner Adamski had to leave early.
Oh, okay. So we'll skip that then. Sorry, I'm not able to see the whole screen. So can we go then to the subcommittee on data and research, Commissioner Levin, please?
Sure, and if we could just post the PowerPoint, that would be great. Just to make sure we have the PowerPoint. But let me first, before the PowerPoint gets and thank you, Alec, for doing that. Couple quick things. We had a wonderful convening over at UCLA with their ISH, their Institute Relating to Hate. A broad array of folks. It was divided between K through 12 and online. And how prescient that we did that. 10 years ago to TED Talk, I warned about this kind of stuff, and it's worse now. And it was really brought out during that meeting. And guess what? Since then, these major players, these major platforms have become even worse cauldrons by dismantling their trust and security units. And in addition, they're fact checkers. Maybe down the line, we can get some of these folks to talk about what they did in overseeing this kind of activity. Moreover, The Intercept came out with a piece showing the kind of horrible bigoted language that is now tolerated on Facebook. So it's getting worse across the board. There's also, as we heard from the chair previously, so I'm not going to get redundant on it, but research coming out from CHIS with the health survey, that's very in depth. So I think folks will enjoy it. I mean, it's always terrible stuff, but the quality of the information is getting better and better. That being said, we're seeing some improvements with regard to data collection going forward, but there's really been a wrench thrown into the process because of a switch to a new data platform nationally and including with our friends at the LAPD. Real briefly, this is 2023. We're going to see something different for 2024, and that is a bigger percentage of anti-Jewish, flat, slightly down for anti-gay male and flat for anti-black. But remember, you can't look at it year by year, even month by month. We are so elevated. We go to the next slide. We are so elevated with regard to this stuff. And if you go over the 30 some odd years that we've had national data, but because 267 victims were left out of Los Angeles, that never was kind of updated because there was kind of this stark transition from kind of paper and old computer to new computer. So all data is preliminary, but bottom line is looks like 2023 record, and we have like way up there, maybe slightly down off a record for LA and big cities overall. But the big news there is that California actually, once you include those victims, by the way, all the anti-Hindu, I believe, was wiped out. So once you include that, things change. So what we're looking at are more victims, and that really about doubles the percentage increase nationally, because it was a record, but it was by a moderate increase. The increase was much bigger. If we go next slide real quick, because I want to tie this up. This just shows California, the kinds of offenses we're generally looking at. As you can see, vandalism most common, then threats, that's intimidation, which is a crime, and simple assault, but also look at that, a big slab there of aggravated assault. So violent, and it affects communities differently, both reporting wise, but also victimization. We believe the gay community, LGBTQI community, much more vulnerable to excess violence, to the aggravated assaults. And the transgender communities, we've seen over 30 homicides last year, and many of them intersectionality, people of color. Next slide real quick. This shows what we have with the cities that we have. LA, we have so many different data sets from county as well as city, and they're counting sometimes different things. So the best I could do was do a conservative projection on victims that came out of LA from our friends at the LA Human Relations Commission and the LAPD. And then what I did is I multiplied it overall by the last time we were able to do that back in like 2022, the victim to event ratio. However, I can't do that for individual groups. Why? Because there's a wide swath of how many victims report per group and type of attack. So this is the best we can do. What it looks like is we're just straddling, just under the record year that we saw in 2023 for the major U.S. cities. But here's the thing. As we get smaller cities, they are tending to be more on the increase than their larger counterparts. So we'll see what happens when thousands of them get counted. But this is what we have preliminarily. Last slide, and this is disturbing. I'm sorry, not the last slide. Anti-Jewish. It looks like we're going to have a record. So that's unfortunate. A low double-digit rise for anti-Jewish, and a bigger but still low double-digit rise for anti-Muslim. We go to that final slide. Oh, I'm sorry. That's anti-Muslim. I'm sorry. I have another slide for that. Anti-Muslim also up about 14%. Anti-Jewish about 11%. I'll finalize all that stuff for a next meeting. We could promote it more in depth. But the big thing I want to remember, it affects individual victims and communities. Look at this. This is Springfield, Ohio, right from the Ohio authorities, state authorities. Just got it. Look at that. We're 11 anti-Black or anti-African Americans in the month that the rumors were put out about eating pets by high political leaders like the current Vice President of the United States. So that's kind of where we're at. So hate is very resilient. So even if you think, look at it, 0, 0, 0, and then boom. So that's why we really have to be there for vulnerable communities and communities that are being targeted by horrible invective, as what we saw before. So I want to thank my friends and colleagues, and also the staff of CRD and my commissioner on this committee, Commissioner Che, who has just done yeoman's work with this committee, and it's so nice to have her. It was such a loss when we had to lose Commissioner Sinar, but Commissioner Che, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the work that you have doggedly done for us when you've had a full plate on your own. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Levin. Can we now please go to our subcommittee on community forums? Commissioner Cuellar, please.
Good morning, everybody. It's so nice to see everybody back. I will be doing the update on our community forums for myself and Commissioner Filer. So obviously we are actively planning on our next community forums for the year. We have nailed down a couple topics, so I'll go over the topics today. First one is anti-immigrant hate, dialogue across differences. online hate, school and disabilities, and rural communities. So we're hoping to get any feedback today on any of these community forums, but also we are planning to hold, as you can tell, there was 5 of them. So we're hoping to do 2 of them via Zoom. And one of them we're hoping to incorporate with our already scheduled commission meetings. So we will be talking to Commissioner Levin about that and hoping that we can get on the agenda for the next coming year. Other than that, I think that's all I have. As I said, like as we continue to plan more, I'll bring you back information. But the first one we are hoping to do is going to be in April or May. So we're still looking at some dates and times, and we will be notifying all of the commission. And I know that last year we really want to get a schedule going for all of the commissioners. So we're working on that. And like I said, we'll hopefully bring that back at next month's meeting, just so we can have an early schedule. Hopefully all the commissioners can make it. And if there's anything else, Commissioner Filer, but I think that's it.
Nope.
Thank you guys so much.
always do an excellent job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Cuellar, for your report. Subcommittee on Funding.
Oh, could I just briefly just make a quick request relevant to that committee? Because we can't talk when we're not at a meeting.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. I really want to talk to you on those subjects, and I encourage obviously all the other commissioners and staff to assist with who they think are good for these things. I have someone who's quite adept because he oversaw the fact checking for Facebook. So I'd love to get him if we're going to have a community forum like live and on site somewhere. So we'll talk more or through administrative routes, but I wanted to just make sure I offer that at this meeting. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if any of the other commissioners know of any presenters that would be great for any of these forums, please reach out to Alec or any of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we are now going to have an informational presentation. It really is an overview of the accomplishments of the Community Conflict Resolution Unit at the Civil Rights Department. Marcus Equilibria and Kendra Tennessee will give us a presentation on this topic, and we're joined today by them. As you know, the 3 years of funding appropriated to the unit is unfortunately ending this year. And as a follow-up to their presentation last year, they will present on an overview of their accomplishments since they were established. So I'm now going to turn it over to Marcus Equilibria and Kendra Tennessee for to give us a presentation, but not before I truly express my gratitude and appreciation for everything that you have done in this department, particularly in this and the community conflict resolution units. And so I'm gonna now turn it over to you, please.
I'm so sorry, Vice Chair Salcedo, but we should take public comment on the subcommittee updates just right before we get to that presentation.
Apologies.
No worries.
Are there any public comment?
Yeah, we have public comment from Greg Desir.
Okay.
Greg Desir with the Arc of California. I just saw this report late last night and was up most of the night reading it. I want to say I was very, very impressed, and I don't know who actually wrote it, but whoever it is deserves a lot of credit. Comments. As representative of civil rights advocate for a disability organization, I have to say I was disappointed by the lack of much information or attention to anti-disability hate crimes, which it does note that not just in the United States, but around the world, that anti-disability hate crimes are the invisible hate crimes, but it doesn't talk much about what to do about it. I hope that with the forum that you held in October, and so forth, that will be remedied in the future. I have to point out that this report is 8 months late. I know you've been told that you had to wait until the governor's office approved it. That is not correct. The plain, simple, clear, plain English of the government code says specifically, the commission shall make its report by July 1st of each year. Does not give you any authority to put it off to wait for the governor. The governor would be perfectly within his power and his legal rights to wait a long time or to never approve it. However, the law does not give the commission any such flexibility. The law says quite clearly you must do it by July 1st. I will say that there was a group of 11 civil rights groups who were pursuing legislation this year, got nowhere with it, and it concerned two of the points that the report I see last night raised: the gaps in law enforcement training and the need for better data. If your report had come out on time, as it was legally required to, we would have certainly listened to those reports, to those recommendations, maybe very well may have rephrased some of our recommendations in our legislation, and certainly would have used it in the legislature and would have called on the commission to support legislation. None of that happened because the commission disregarded the law and was 8 months late in issuing its report. And I hope that will change. And then the final comment is, as we all are very familiar with reports, nice reports on all kinds of things that sit on shelves and nothing's ever happened with them. I hope that with this one and with any future reports that you don't allow that to happen, that members of the commission must be active in putting forward and advocating for the commission's recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Are there any other comments, Monica?
No other comment via Zoom.
And no other comments on this agenda item on email as well. And no comments in the room.
Okay. So no, okay. Shana, no public comment in the room? Thank you.
No comments.
So we're now going to have the presentation from Marcus Equilibria and Kendra Tennessee from the Civil Rights Department Community Conflict Resolution Unit. So please welcome Marcus Equilibria and Kendra Tennessee to do this report, this presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Can you please confirm if you can see the big screen for me? Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. Really appreciate this opportunity. I want to thank all of you for this invitation to present before you and share a little bit more about the Community Conflict Resolution Unit and some of our successes, some of our stories, and really share with you a little bit more detail of what the work actually looks like. And I think that's one of the interests that was shared with us before, is you really want to see what that looks like. And I think we did a pretty good job of anonymizing some of the work. Since our work is confidential, we've been able to create some versions to kind of give you a really good sense of what the work looks like. And I'm happy to take questions and happy to try and answer them to my best. So as you know, the Small But Mighty crew is composed of 3 individuals, Greg Mann, Kendra Tenachia. They are our 2 attorney mediators, and I am the Assistant Deputy Director of the unit. And one of the things I'm going to do as I go through this slide deck is share a few testimonials that we have. We've scattered them throughout the presentation just to kind of, give you some diversity within the stories as well as what we do. And we're going to start off with the first one. There we go. Santa Barbara NAACP. The crew team has been an incredible resource. Their expertise and facilitation are helping us shape a series of community dialogues, giving our community the opportunity to work through some challenging issues on racism, discrimination, and hate. We do not have this kind of support as communities of color. The resources they bring are even more crucial at this time. Their ability to help us craft these dialogues to create deeper community engagement and change has been invaluable. By Connie Alexander, she's the president of the Santa Barbara NAACP. We're of course very grateful, and the work has been very deep, very meaningful with them providing a lot of intense services. And we're now on our 4th dialogue working with them. So a little bit about our mission, just to remind everyone, pretty much summarized here, this is what we do. This is our work. This is the heart of what we do. We promote peaceful relations by assisting communities experiencing fear, conflict, or tensions relating to discriminatory practices, hate incidents, or hate crimes that have a community impact. And really want to highlight that last part, community impact. Unlike the other parts of the department that focus on individual complaints of discrimination, we focus on the community level impact and how we can work with communities to come up with solutions to address those concerns. And a few unique things about our unit. The benefits of using crew services, of course, are that we are neutral and impartial. So we're not there to assign blame. We are not there to investigate because also we do not have law enforcement authority. We're also confidential. So those conversations we have with community groups, they could feel safe that they can discuss things, be honest with us, and that we are not going to be sharing that with other parties unless they give us permission to do so. We also try to engage with impacted communities as part of our work. And what that means is that, say we are working with advocates who represent the community, at some point we like to have the actual members of the community involved so that the work truly reflects the priorities of the community. And of course, one of the really interesting items of interest to anyone who requests our services, because they always ask, is how much is it going to cost? And we are free. What does the work look like? We design conflict resolution processes. So think town halls, listening sessions. We've assisted you all in, I believe it was 2023, with some of the community forums you had to do. So that is right in our wheelhouse, is helping government or community put together community input mechanisms to get recommendations from the community on how to resolve community conflicts. We can also facilitate those, facilitate a range of meetings to problem solve and try to identify next steps. Of course, we educate and train. I'll share a little bit about that in a moment. And we provide consultations. They can be short or quick, and I'm going to give you 2 examples to give you a good sense of what that might look like. And of course, we can mediate disputes. A few numbers just to highlight some important ones. We've had 138 community engagement sessions and meetings. This is since our inception. And keep in mind that when we first started in October, one of the first things we had to do was to build the infrastructure of our unit, but we got it up and running pretty quickly. And since then, we've had a lot of engagement with a wide set of cases and community groups. And that's also led to 63 consultations, 10 trainings, and the total interactions from inception to January 2025 has been with 3,902 people. All right, so what does the work look like? Here's an example of dealing with tensions between Black and Latino youth. where we were working to address racial slurs, fighting, and other discriminatory behavior among middle school youth. And what we did was we worked with the Black Advocacy Organization to put together dialogues. Some of them were with adults, with community leaders of nonprofit organizations. We even had school district officials in there. And one of those was just focused on youth, middle school youth. And that was really incredible to have that experience. And we are still working with them. And we will be hosting our next dialogue in about 2 weeks. In response to hate speech, fear of hate speech, the Filipino American Association asked Crew to conduct de-escalation training. So last summer, we went out there to Paris Valley, where we conducted a training, and we had a nice little turnout of folks, and conducted, for the very first time, training on de-escalation techniques to address hate speech. Another one of our cases, this is a really big one. This is a part of the California Truth and Healing Council. In the fall of 2023, the Governor's Office of Tribal Affairs asked Crew for facilitation assistance for one of their biggest subcommittees. It's called the Status and Identity Subcommittee. It has about 60 or more people enrolled in that. Of course, not everyone is active at the, but about a third is active, and some attend meetings very regularly. Some kind of just work through with us on virtually through like the assignments that we have. So the main task of the subcommittee is to provide feedback and recommendations to the larger council. And their task is, of course, to work with California Indians, which is a preferred term of the subcommittee. Not everyone is in complete agreement, but that is one of the major preferences. And then their task is to provide recommendations to the state aimed at reparation and restoration, to consider how to prevent similar depredations and or policies in the future. So to give you a sense of like what the work has involved, since we started working with them, we've had 22 meetings. And we have our next one this Saturday. They're usually on Thursday evenings or Saturday mornings. And we're almost done. We're on version 3 of our recommendations, and already members in our last version that I had to put together, we just put it out there last week, and already the subcommittee wants to revise it. And so we're going to be working on version 4. And we hope to try and finish maybe March, maybe might get pushed till April, but we're coming up to the finish line on that one. Here's another testimonial. Crew has had an invaluable impact in my and the Family Assistance Program's efforts to implement our Stop the Anti-Hate Crime campaign for San Bernardino County. The access to the posters for distribution and the support of the community outreach team has helped us continue to build awareness. So they're referring there to California versus Hate, as well as the outreach and education team here at CRD. And then moving on to the part on Crew, is most important has been the guidance in organizing, supporting the development and formation of the first San Bernardino County Human Rights Coalition. The Crew are skilled thought partners who apply effective organizing tools for systemic change. In the end, their contribution to our work will directly impact the safety of people in our community. And that was sent to us by Jimbo Bolas. He is the Chief Program Officer at the Family Assistance Program. All right, so here's another one of our big cases that happened. This one was with regards to access to welfare benefits. Around the time when we first started, we worked with various nonprofit organizations, advocacy organizations, local government entities on reducing the barriers to accessing welfare benefits. And after completing a series of listening sessions with those nonprofit organizations that work directly with welfare applicants, Crew helped to develop recommendations which were shared with welfare service providers and stakeholders.
Hello.
My name is Patty. I am returning.
Okay, somebody was unmuted. I'll continue. Improving relations between the tribe and the county. This is a very specific tribal case that we had. We still have, we're still working on it. In response to strained relationships, crew met with each party to explore collaborative opportunities and convene representatives from each side to begin a collaborative trust-building relationship. This one involved one of our team members actually traveling to one of the tribes. It was in one of the more, far away regions of the state, and met with both, parties, both the tribe and the county government, to really try and explore how to build better relationships after so many years of distrust. And they certainly identified a few areas that they're currently working on to build a more collaborative relationship. Another one, Housing Summit. This one was where we helped to organize an educational summit in a rural community experiencing ongoing conflicts between residents and housing providers. Speakers of the summit addressed misinformation and the need for housing providers to implement necessary changes to comply with disability access laws. We got 2 mediations. One mediation we had early on in 2023 was between advocates representing the Hmong community and a state agency that where the conflict was trying to address racial profiling concerns. And I can't tell you more than that, because then I would get, you could Google it, find it. And that's the part of crew is we have to be careful about how we talk about the work to protect the confidentiality of the job. In 2025, this is a current one. This is fresh. We were asked to mediate between a community group and a city government to develop a transparent and non-discriminatory policy for youth access to public parks and facilities. And we're very excited about this case. We've been working with the community on this, who has been discussing the issues of concern, and they've been slowly working with the city to build towards asking for a mediation on this. And that's where we are now, where we're at the very beginning of starting we've started that process, and we look forward to it. So 2 examples of consultations, one quick, one extensive. So a short one would be contingency planning with an LGBTQ+ group concerned about possible counter protests during Pride celebrations, where we discussed, we asked a lot of questions about, their partnership with law enforcement, the layout, plans they were already taking into account. There's a lot of great best practices put out there by organizations like our counterparts in the federal government, in the Community Relations Service, and we certainly discussed a lot of the points that they have and that they've put out some publications on. An extensive consultation example would be Stop the Hate Grantee, creating a countywide anti-hate coalition. They've received a lot of assistance with planning and organizing the meetings, okay, what should we ask? What should we focus on? Who should we invite? Should we have an advisory, a steering committee? Should we have ad hoc groups? And we had our first meeting back in November, and we had a advisory group meeting in January, and we're working together. We just had a meeting yesterday, and we're going to have our meeting with the actual coalition again this March. So it's a very nice, exciting case where we do a lot of great work with community groups. Here's another quote. As a campus leader at a community school and newcomer school site, staying informed is not just a priority, it's a necessity. It was truly grateful to receive valuable resources from California Against Hate, they're referring to California versus Hate, as I sought information to empower both my school staff and the families we serve. The posters were distributed to classrooms and displayed in school offices, ensuring our community had clear, accessible knowledge about their rights and how to protect their loved ones. What made it even greater impact was having Crew's presence at one of our community events for parents. It was a powerful opportunity to share vital information, foster dialogue, and connect with families and community partners. Introducing Crew to the vulnerable members of our community, many of whom are grappling with fear, conflict, and tension due to the discriminatory practices, hate incidents, and crimes, was both meaningful and necessary. I am excited about the possibility of continuing this partnership with Crew, working together to build a safer, more informed, and resilient community. Signed by Adrian Miles Patterson from Riverbank School. So, of course, training and education is very important for us. Here are a few examples of trainings that we have done or education that we've done in the area of de-escalation and how to handle difficult conversations. We've done trainings with Paris Valley, City of San Jose, San Francisco Human Rights Commission. That one was just yesterday. And then confronting bias and hate in the workplace. We had a big training with in joint partnership with the EEOC, and we represented not just Crew, but all of CRD and provided a lot of great info on all of our great programs and operations. Then facilitation training. One of the things we might do when we're doing a dialogue is we may have small breakout group sessions. So to help to build capacity, we provide training to those facilitators working with other people. Another area is hate crime forums, and we've been invited to quite a few that have been hosted by the Community Relations Service of the U.S. Department of Justice in cities such as Bakersfield, El Monte, and Linwood. And those pictures you see on the left represent some of those forums that I just described. Here are a few trainings that we have in development and we're really looking forward to. The big one that we're really excited about is the hate crimes and hate incident training, because there is a lot of excitement and people who want to have this kind of training. And there's a lot of commitment already when we do outreach. And I'm going to show you in a moment a list of places where we've done outreach. And every time we share that we're working on this, everybody says, as soon as that's done, I want it. Another one, really big one, is an anti-hate, anti-discrimination training for K through 12 administrators. The components of the training are 4 modules that focus on understanding legal obligations, like here's the law, here's what you're obligated to do. Another module focuses on promoting a positive climate, another one on conflict resolution skills, and the 4th one is on creating systemic changes. And that is through a contract. One of the things about our initial creation was we had a budget for contracting with experts based on, like, if we didn't have a particular expertise, but we recognize that, hey, you know, a lot of stuff happens, a lot of hate and discrimination happen in schools, but if we don't have that kind of expertise, well, maybe we can contract with them. And that's exactly what we did. So at the end of the prior fiscal year, we contracted with California State University, Fullerton, and we're working with their College of Education to develop this training. And our very first pilot with the public, with members of the actual public who are principals and administrators, is happening this March at Cal State Fullerton. So here's a list of outreach to human relation commissions, cities, and counties. They're a very valuable partner to us because these are bodies that have a responsibility to respond to hate and discrimination on their jurisdictions. So you have there a very nice list of Culver City, Davis, Long Beach, LA, Palm Springs, Pasadena, Riverside, San Diego, San Francisco, San Luis Obispo, counties such as Alameda, Los Angeles, Orange, San Diego, and Sonoma. So we really try and keep those contacts, circle here and there. Those trainings I mentioned, especially the one on hate crimes, is one that is anticipated. There's a lot of excitement among some of these organizations, and they want it. But they're not the only ones. We've also done extensive outreach in the last few months throughout the state with LGBTQ centers such as Tri-County Diversity in Yuba, Sutter, and Colusa, Queer Humboldt, the Q Corner in Santa Clara County's Office of LGBTQ Affairs, Pride Social in Santa Clara County. We got Solano Pride Center, Stonewall Alliance in Chico, Mo Pride in Modesto, Central Valley Gender Health and Wellness, LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert, Diversity Collective in Ventura, North County LGBTQ Resource Center in Oceanside, LGBTQ Center of Orange County, and Imperial Valley LGBTQ Resource Center. And I feel like we're probably even missing a few, but we've certainly been, in some cases, even circled back in response to requests for consultations. And as I said, we've talked to them about the hate crimes training and other nonprofit organizations that we've done outreach with, and they are very excited about that. So lastly, I'll end here. This is the small but mighty crew. I want to thank you for your support, and I can take any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much for your presentation, and to all the team. Really appreciate it. I see that Commissioner Che, you have a question?
Yes, thank you so much. Well, I really do appreciate the presentation and all the team members here. It's really remarkable the breadth and depth of work that the crew team is engaged in. I had a very simple question, which is, where do you actually get your referrals? How do people even know about your services? And that's just a curiosity that I have. And it does look like you do quite a bit of proactive outreach, but that would be helpful to know. Thank you.
Sure. The biggest source of actual substantive work is actually from the outreach. It's from establishing relationships with community partners, community-based organizations, where people go for help. Those are the places that we reach out to, and those are the places that then say, you know what, we do have a case, we do have a situation. So even though we have a front door and people can come to the website and fill out a form or email us, the majority, I'd say 99.99% of the work, it's me going to someone, introducing the services, and they're like, I need some help, and I know exactly who else you can help. Let me give you their contact information. So it's really community centers, but cities too, here and there. And of course, sometimes you hear of controversies in the news, and you outreach, it's targeted outreach, and it might be a city, and they say, you know what, you come at the right time. So it's really the proactive outreach to organizations and building that relationship, because even if it doesn't happen right there and then, it may happen later where, let's call that group that came to us last year.
Thank you. I see, Damon, you want to add anything to the presentation?
Hi, thank you. I did have a question. At the Department of Justice, we get a ton of incoming concerns for K through 12 campuses particularly about hate directed towards Black students. I saw a slide that referenced the Latino and Black conflict with hate speech, and I think you referenced something that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. If you could repeat what that is, that's sort of my first question. And then secondly, again, following up on Commissioner Che's question about outreach, to what extent are you in direct contact with some of these associations, whether it be something like AXA, which deals with superintendents or others, because this is a really big problem on campuses right now, and leadership is really at a loss for how to deal with it. And in the meantime, students are experiencing extreme trauma behind what's happening. And so I think everything that you've laid out is excellent in terms of providing that level of resource and training. And I'd like to see how it is that we can assist potentially in certainly not in overwhelming you all with but connecting you to people who may not be aware of the resource and who may not be on your direct list of folks that you know may be in need of those services, but certainly want to make sure that people are aware and can access the information and assistance.
Sure. On the first part, to highlight some of the work, it's very important to highlight that it came through the community side, through those advocacy centers that people go to when you have concerns. The parents go to these civil rights organizations that they know locally, and they came to us and asked for help. And they found out about us through some of the Stop the Hate grantee presentations and that network. Also, I mean, some of our other partners here in CRD from California versus Hate, or even the outreach and education team, when they go out, they do presentations on all the various services that we have. So they heard about us through some of those forms of outreach, and they said, we'd like to, get your assistance. So we haven't started working with a school yet, even though we had a school district member at one of our dialogues. But that's actually one of the points of discussion in one of our upcoming dialogues, is how can we engage in kind of a proactive win-win type of partnership with this district to help them address some of those tensions, fights, racial slurs happening. They're kind of being very, very normalized, and the school seems to not be doing enough to address those concerns. To kind of step out of that particular case, one of the observations I've had over the many, many years doing this kind of work is that schools can be very, protective of who they let in. So this ties into the second part of your question, where I think you can be helpful, because if you help to introduce us to associations, and associations that can also educate the school districts en masse, to let them know that, hey, just because we're under the Civil Rights Department up here doesn't mean you need to fear us, because we're very unique. That's again what I mentioned at the very beginning, is that we're impartial, we have no law enforcement authority, but schools tend to be very protective and think about, how's it going to look if I have an enforcement agency here with us? It's not going to look good for my job, it's going to look bad on me, it's going to look bad on the district. So it's really important to frame a positive, proactive approach where they reach out to us. So any kind of help you can provide of making that connection between us and any associations. And we look forward to doing more outreach to associations. We just, we're a small and mighty 3 people. So eventually we hope to get to more and more places, but opening those doors, helping us to let people know that we're neutral and impartial, and we're free, a resource that schools can count on in a confidential manner. Because even a consultation, even if it's a 15-minute phone call, it's confidential. So a school can pick our brains and say, what would you do if this happened at our campus? So we'd like to be in a position to say, come, the lines are open, call us if you want a quick consultation. We're happy to do that. It's confidential. Nobody's going to know. So I hope I answered the 1 and the 2. And if I missed anything, let me know.
Yeah, thank you so much. I don't see any, Commissioner Levin, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. First, Marquez, thank you for the work you've been doing. Gosh, how long do we go back? I have witnessed this gem of a public servant on working for both the federal government and state government. And at a time when public servants are being mistreated and maligned, you represent the best of us, Marquez. That's number one. However, I'm not here to be your fan club. I now have a special obligation. And I want you to answer this because I know how well and how well you do this. And this is not something that people can just pick up in a month. They not only do the conciliation, but they also provide a multitude of other services. And the crew is modeled after CRS from the '64 Civil Rights Act. Okay, but their mission is far more broad. But when I was going to the legislature to ask that this commission be assembled, there was a no vote from a Republican person. And I called them up and I said, I think we're going to win, but I'm not, this is not a political call. This person was a veteran. My father was a POW. And I told her that we would have an entity that would be for all Californians. So my question is, if there were conservative people of goodwill and they had some dispute with someone across the political spectrum, but it came within the ambit of what you do. Let's say it was a school district, or let's say a workplace, whatever it was. Would you dispose your obligations free of fear and favor, irrespective of the background of the people involved in the dispute? Because Californians have a right to know that. And me knowing you, I think I know what your answer will be. So if you could expound upon that, how you approach these conciliation enterprises by putting your own personal views on the shelf and doing it in a nonpartisan way. If you could just expand on that a little bit. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this work will involve a lot of issues. Every case is very, very different and unique. And a lot of us may have our own opinions and thoughts about a wide variety of issues that we work in. But in order for the work to be successful, that piece I mentioned in the presentation of being impartial is really key here. Because if I'm to be of use, if I am to be effective, I have to show impartiality. Because if I'm trying to work between various parties, and let's say that I had some kind of, bias in favor of someone or whatever, I actually do them a disfavor by showing favoritism towards them because I'm unable to create a process of conversation, of dialogue between the various different parties involved. So for there to be actual, progress in some kind of dialogue and some kind of resolution, you have to have all sides have equal and fair opportunity to discuss their perspectives in a civilized way where, even if you're dealing with a hate group, you have to treat them with respect. And Brian, that in the years we've done a lot of work where, we were at hate rallies and, we were called in some cases by them. This is when I was at Community Relations Service, they'd call us because even law enforcement was ignoring them. But we knew that if they just showed up, there was going to be violence between counter protesters and the hate group. So we had to talk to all partners to create, again, a sense of fairness to ensure that everyone is treated with, a fair and impartial, access to those resources, including us as third-party mediators, to ensure that members of the public don't get hurt. So being impartial is so key in this work. not showing favoritism, because in some cases there can be violence in cases like, say, involving rallies or an escalation of conflict. So you have to think about your self-awareness. You have to be really aware of how you're being perceived, because and this goes not just for those extreme kind of cases, but as in the world, there's always conflict, domestic and international, and organizations get asked to either sign a resolution for this or that, and it's so key that when you're in a human relations body or an assignment where you're there to protect all, you have a responsibility to work for all people, then you really have to be self-aware of your own, how you're perceived, your impartiality. How is that perceived? It's not just like me thinking I'm impartial, but I have to think, how is my work going to be perceived by others among the people that I work with? So impartiality is so key to the work, and it's also really shows you that there's not that many organizations out there in the world that can provide, third-party impartial services from government. Every now and then you have nonprofit organizations that try and play that role, but for government to play that role, it's really key, it's really unique, and it's really important. So I hope I answered your question.
Thank you so much. Yes. So we're now gonna move into public comment. Monica, is there any public comment in the chat?
No public comment via Zoom.
Are there any
Oh.
other?
Someone just raised their hand. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yuri?
is the person gonna be able to do public comment?
Yeah, I just unmuted them. If I just gave them permission. Yuri.
Okay,
Sedamo.
hello.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, great. I just wanted to express my gratitude towards the work that you've done, Mr. Martinez, and the whole commission. I just was questioning myself if I'm at the right place and time here, and now I know I am. So I just appreciate all of your work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any other public comment, Monica?
No other public comment on Zoom.
Any other public comment in person or written public comment?
No other written public comment on this agenda item. No comments in person.
Thank you so much. So we're now going to go back to item number 4, and we want to ask Alec to please help us display the subcommittee proposal for the modifications to subcommittee. Obviously, there has been a suggestion to modifying the structure of the subcommittees, and the new structure will reflect our strategic goals and explicitly allow all subcommittees to conduct research and develop policy recommendations related to our strategic goal. If you would, please.
Thank you, Vice Chair Salcedo. So as you all may remember, when we first established the commission, we set up a number of subcommittees. It was sort of our best guess about the best sort of structure. I think after about 2 years, and after developing a strategic plan, developing our first report, and actually drafting our second report, we're sort of halfway through doing that, our third report. We thought that it would be better to modify the structure of the subcommittees in a way that better reflects the commission's strategic goals. And we worked with Chair Roybal on this. This new structure, as Vice Chair Salcedo mentioned, empowers each subcommittee to both conduct research, and also develop policy recommendations. So I'll just go through these new subcommittees quickly. The current structure, as you know, is we have a data and research subcommittee, a recommendations for law enforcement subcommittee, a subcommittee on community forums, and a subcommittee on policy recommendations and best practices from other jurisdictions. The proposed structure is to broaden the data and research subcommittee to focus on patterns, trends, and prevention, again, still with a focus on data and research, but addressing patterns, trends, and preventions more broadly. The other proposal is to broaden the recommendations for law enforcement subcommittee to include not only law enforcement response to hate, but also other resources, support, and sort of response systems to hate. The community forum subcommittee would stay the same, and the subcommittee on policy recommendations, excuse me, and best practices from other jurisdictions, that subcommittee will be deprecated and the work will be distributed to the other subcommittees. Again, as we mentioned, all subcommittees will be focused on research. They all can examine best practices within their specific area, and they all can develop policy recommendations. Happy to answer any questions about this.
Yes, may I ask a quick question? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't raise my hand, sorry.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Levine.
Excuse my lack of hand raise there.
Okay.
One of the things that I like about this is it looks like recommendations for law enforcement would now be more broad. So I wanted to just ask if I'm in the right direction. So for instance, within that ambit, would the commissioners in that particular committee, would human relations commissions, for instance, be under their ambit as opposed to just merely law enforcement? Because we want to go from merely a carceral response to a restorative response, among others, when appropriate. But it's in, look, it's in the California statute. It's not my, even my call. So could you elaborate a little bit about what the reach of the resources, support, and response, what kind of agencies outside of police departments or NGOs would be under your ambit in that particular committee? Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Commissioner Levin. I think you're hit the nail on the head exactly. We are essentially expanding what they're working on. Human Relations Commission commissions would be included to the extent that they are a resource support and response system for responding to hate. As you know, Human Relations Commissions sometimes do a lot of things. There's a lot of different permutations of them. So, I can imagine the patterns, trends, and prevention also looking at Human Relations Commission from that perspective. Other sort of resources, support, and response projects that we have sort of ongoing right now is research review on bystander intervention trainings, research review on mental health interventions. So it's all these sorts of things that we want to make sure that are in place to support people when they are impacted by hate.
No, thank you so much. That's wonderful, because there's also the interplay of different agencies and NGOs that sometimes aren't on the same page. So if you're only looking at law enforcement, there might be a communal voice or some other data that would be neglected or not under the jurisdiction, rather. So this is, I think, a wonderful change, and thank you so much for doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Levin. Do we have any other commissioners any questions from any of the commissioners? I don't see any. So since we don't have any more discussion about this, thank you so much, Alec, for this presentation. Monica, do we have any public comment on Zoom?
No public comment via Zoom.
Rebecca, any email public comment?
No public comment via email.
Shayna, do we have any public comment in the room?
No comments.
Thank you so much. So we're now gonna move into item number 7. If we can just approve the minutes from our meeting on December 9. Which is attachment A, and we will post the link in the chat to download the attachment for from the commission's website. If we can, is there any discussion from any of the commissioners about the meetings? I mean, about the minutes from the meeting, sorry. I don't see any anything from the commissioners. Do we have any public comment, Monica?
No public comment on the minutes.
Rebecca, any email public comment about this item?
No email public comment.
Shayna, anyone in the room that wants to make a public comment about the minutes?
No comments. No comments.
Any discussion about the minutes from any of the commissioners? I don't see any, but I would need a motion. If someone can please make a motion to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
Commissioner Levin, motions the approval of the minutes. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you so much. Can we please get a vote? Or is there any discussion about this matter? If not, if we can just move to a vote. Alec, can you please help us with that?
Chair Roybal is not here. Vice Chair Salcedo,
Aye.
Commissioner Che,
Aye.
Commissioner Cuellar,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsky, Commissioner Filer,
Aye.
Commissioner Levin,
Aye.
Commissioner Suthers.
Aye.
I have 6 ayes.
Thank you so much for the approval of the minutes. We're now going to move to item number, I'm sorry. Oh, we're now going to move to item number 9. Are there any commission member announcements? I don't see, Commissioner Levin, you have an announcement to make?
Yes, I just wanted to thank my fellow commissioners for the kindness and confidence they put in me. And I want you to know that I am available to come to wherever you are. Just bear with me about scheduling and planning and things like that, but I really would like to. And I want to make sure that I tell everyone that it's really important at this time when there's such incredible cruelty that is directed to among the most vulnerable residents of our state, that part of what we have to do is not just the wonderful work of the research and promoting the excellent CCRU and other members of the staff of the CRD, but also to serve as a place of inclusion where the dignity and respect of all people who dwell in our state is undertaken. And to the extent that there are impacts and challenges to that, that we organize across characteristics and ideologies to make sure that the civil rights of people, whether they're transgender, whether they're undocumented people, whether they're disabled people or whoever, on the basis of those characteristics that are listed in our statutes, as well as those where there's a moral imperative for us to support, that I want you all to know. 80 years ago, a couple of months, my dad was liberated from a Nazi POW camp. And he said, become a doctor. A medic enabled me to save my life when, after they said they were going to execute me, they needed a surgeon. But he was only a teenager and said he could do it. And he said, go into medicine because it's something that can never be taken away and you can always help people. Luckily, I'm completely incompetent in that area, but I'm marrying someone who is. But it's so important for those of us to embrace the dignity of people. We had a little girl in another state that was bullied over her immigration status and killed herself. We have trans kids who kill themselves. We are a state that will be the new refuge for dignity and kindness. And it's not lost on me that for some people I look white, but for those that wanted to hurt me, I wasn't white enough because I was Jewish. So I want to let you know that all of those who've experienced those same emotions and fears, I embrace you, I welcome you, and I can tell you that we have the most wonderful colleagues, the most wonderful allies. And if you do look like this, one of the things that when I went to Europe, I'm going to close up on this, is they had, I think it was Willy Brandt, when he went to Poland and apologized for the role of Germany in the Holocaust there. And he got down on his knees and apologized. We need a lot more contrition and a lot more compassion in the society, particularly for people that look like this. And I want you to know, I will endeavor to do that and embrace the dignity and worth of all the people who reside in our states. And Commissioner Filer, I know that your family has had similar experiences. My heart is with everybody here. And now we have to focus on those, the immigrants, the religious minorities, the disabled, and others who are being targeted by now an ecosystem that includes government as well as the online space. It stops here. People have to, like that person in Beijing during the protest, stand up. We don't have to stand up to a tank, but I want to let you know, it's not just an honor, it's an obligation that we all have to roll up our sleeves. So anybody that's on the commission or those of you in the public, irrespective of ideology or background, if you comport yourselves, as George Washington wrote to the Touro Synagogue, as good citizens back in 1790, or residents for that matter, call me. I want to make sure that when you're doing something, that there's someone standing next to you as an ally. These times will test allyship and our commitment to the expertise across various strata that is represented by the staff and these wonderful commissioners and exceptional staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Levin. I see Commissioner Suthers, you want to make, go ahead.
Thank you. Many of you may know that I serve on the Los Angeles Police Commission as its president, and I wanted to make you aware of the fact that we have an assistant United States attorney who's worked in the civil rights space for many years, and many of you know him. His name is Matthew Barragan. Yesterday, in a unanimous vote, we decided to appoint him to the Los Angeles Police Department's Office of Inspector General as the Inspector General for the department. He's represented the Central District for a number of years. He's an incredibly dedicated public servant, and we're looking forward to him joining us. And I just wanted for everyone to be aware of that, if you've happened to have the privilege and pleasure of working with Matthew over the last several years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Suthers, and congratulations to Mr. Barragan for the new appointment. I don't see any other commissioners to make announcements. I do need to make an announcement and also an invitation to all my fellow commissioners. The Trans-Latino Coalition, along with other organizations, will be organizing the Walk for Humanity. That will take place on Sunday, August 24th, here in Los Angeles. As you may know, we, as many other organizations, will be losing federal funding due to the current administration. And the walk is an effort for all of us to stand in solidarity with all of us, with one another, but also to raise funds for the services that will be eliminated through the losing funding from the federal government. So we want to invite you to participate. We're going to do it here in Los Angeles. We're hoping to do something massive that all of us stand in solidarity. So if you have the ability, I hope that you can join us. That is my announcement. One of the things that I failed to do, that I was not, that it skipped my mind, is that when Mr. Watts provided the presentation about the new structure, I should have called for a discussion and for a vote. And so I'm going to ask us to just go back to that period. If you remember the presentation that Mr. Watts provided, we need to obviously make a vote. And so at this time, I am going to ask my fellow commissioners to see if there is any discussion regarding the presentation that Mr. Watts provided us with. And if not, then we'll move to a vote. Any discussion about the presentation and the new structure? Okay, I don't see any hands. I don't see anybody wants to discuss anything. So I guess I would need for someone to make a motion to approve the new structure.
I
I'll
move
make
to
the
approve.
motion.
Oh, I withdraw.
I'll make a motion to approve the new structure of the subcommittees.
Thank
I
you so
second.
much, Commissioner Cuellar. And a second by Commissioner Levine. Any discussion about this new structure? If we don't have any discussion, then we can move to a vote. Can we please get a roll for the vote?
Absolutely. Chair Roybal, Vice Chair Salcedo,
Aye.
Commissioner Che,
Aye.
Commissioner Cuellar,
Aye.
Commissioner Damsky, Commissioner Filer,
Aye.
Commissioner Levin,
Aye.
Commissioner Suthers.
Aye.
I have 6 ayes.
Thank you so much. The motion is carried on. Now, if there are any other comments from any of the commissioners, we can move into the next item. Before we move into the next item, I do want to start by acknowledging in our next meeting, our new chair, Commissioner Levine, and our new vice chair, Commissioner Damsky, for for being part of this amazing group of people, but that they're going to be leading us in the work that we're going to collectively be doing. And so I want to congratulate the both of you. Also remind you that I'm here to work with you. And please, reach out, let me know how we can support the work that you're going to be doing. And if we don't have any other comments from any or any announcements from any of the commissioners, we can, I see Commissioner Che, sorry.
Thank you, Vice Chair Salcedo. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for your leadership and serving as Vice Chair in our inaugural period as a commission. And of course, your leadership in addressing the safety and security of trans people, especially your leadership in the Southern California area. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Levin, you have an announcement?
Well, just a response. You started with very little, and you, through hard work and perseverance, created an organization that is providing critical assistance to a community that must be heard. Thank you so much, not only for what you did here, but what you did in 2009 and what you did before that and what you're going to do tomorrow. You're a blessing to all who know you and who work with you, and we stand with you.
Thank you, dear. So we are now going to move to the next item on our agenda. For future agenda items. I guess Commissioner Levine, since you're gonna be our new chair, you'll obviously take this on in our next meeting and you work with our staff at the Civil Rights Department. Again, thank you so much for your commitment. Sorry, I muted myself. So next item is public comment on items not on the agenda. Are there any public comment on Zoom or in person, written comment that are not in the agenda? Monica and team?
Yes. Yuri? I have an
Yep. Yeah, you can read the email and I can add the details. Or should I just say, can you read the email, please?
I'm happy to. Thank you, Yuri. We received an email from you that says, I've been researching the hate phenomena over the past 20 years since the gruesome crime committed by the member of the Slavic Pentecostal Church, Nikolai Soltis, who have killed his wife and 4 young children for no good apparent reason. A few years later, similar tragedy happened at the same church family. Now I see the same trait repeating within members of my home church, the Bright Church in West Sacramento. Andrei Demchenko had beheaded his 1-year-old toddler on December 24th, 2025. I am looking for your advice on the best way to address my concerns with the church leadership, whose tactic is to sweep it under the rug and pretend like nothing happened, while there are clear indicators that Demsky tragedy is only tip of an iceberg.
All right. Can I speak now?
Feel free. Thank you.
All right. So yeah, I've really been overtaken by those incidents that have been described, and been doing my research, and I came up with some patterns. But I was really, like, by doing research, I came up on the Commission on the State of Hate, like you guys, and I was like overtaken, like, wow, it's probably the answer to my prayers, and I'm just trying to see if any of you somehow can guide me to the proper somebody who can help me out with addressing the issue. Because when it's in my home church and my children is in there, I can't just go out. I can't. I need somehow to address it. I know I have plans, but I need someone to reflect on and guide me in the right direction. So that's basically why I'm here. So I would I don't know how, if somebody would respond to me, or should I reach out to somebody? Just, I really need guidance here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other public comments?
Yes, we have a public comment from Greg Desir.
Following and trying to work with the commission in the last 2 years has been a sometimes frustrating process for me, that as the hate crime wave continues to swell, it's been so slow to act. The recommendation to post to develop the policy, the video was the one concrete recommendation that the commission has made, and that works out very well. I wanted to point out at the Disability Forum, I proposed that the commission support and advocate for a bill to require every law enforcement agency to have a senior and disability coordinator. Very modest but important step to hold every agency accountable for carrying out the law. After months of trying, that proposal never even got on the agenda for the commission, and some of the groups that were supporting it did seek an author, could not find one. I'm relatively, we can't know, but I think it's very likely that if the commission had been advocating for it, we probably would have found one. That it just seems to me that there's no reason why a proposal such as that, or that if any member of the commission wants to, cannot be put on the agenda to be discussed, hear from the public, talk to each other about it, which you can't do outside of the meetings. And if someone wants to make a motion to support it, they can do so. If no one does, and then it doesn't happen. And if there's a vote, members of the commission can vote yes or no. And if it passes, then it advocates. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It seems to me there's no reason not to move more quickly and in a timely manner to make recommendations for positive change.
Thank you so much. Any other public comment, Monica?
No further public comment on Zoom.
Any written public comment?
No one written public comment via email.
Thank you, Rebecca. Any in-person public comment?
No comments.
Thank you, Shauna. I do want to say that the Civil Rights Department will reach out to Mr. Sodoma to address some of the concerns that they presented. So thank you so much. And since we don't have any more public comment, I once again want to thank each and every one of you for being here at our meeting, attending our meeting, and my fellow commissioners, thank you so much for your support through this process and through all of this 2 years. On behalf of also Chair Roybal, want to express our deepest gratitude and appreciation. At this point, I am going to ask for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Commissioner Cuellar. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Fuller. Do we have to go by list, or can we all just say hi? Okay, so if we're good, then we are adjourning our meeting. Thank you again so much to everyone involved, the staff of the Civil Rights Division, and all of you, my fellow commissioners. Thank you again so much. Have a beautiful day.